Do you have a Digikeijs DR 4018 accessory decoder with an output that's not working? Then stay tuned as I explain how I fixed mine.
Hi, I'm Jeff and welcome back to Flint Hills Model Railway. Now you join me today not in the train room but in the study, as there's no room in the train room. Right, I have a number of these Digikeijs DR418 accessory decoders on Flint Hills, and these have been great, no problems at all with them until now. When I noticed that I had an issue with output 8, when I switched to point motor it didn't stop, and when I tried to switch it the other way it didn't want to know. So I assumed the point motor had gone faulty, so I swapped it for a new one and it did exactly the same. So that's when I realised I've got a problem with output number 8. Now with Digikeijs no longer trading, I can't really post it back to them. So I thought I'd have a go and try and fix it myself, and this is how I did it.
Now before we proceed, clearly I disconnected all the power and everything associated with the machine, with the DR4018, so it was just a clear unit. And please be aware that there are some components inside which do store electricity and could probably give you a small shock when touched, so again, just be careful. Alright, so with the unit, I slowly removed the top sticker. Just be careful here, it is a piece of vinyl and it can tear and rip easily, so I just took my time and peeled it back. And what we're trying to do here is obviously want to keep this sticker, and I'm just trying to expose that screw in the middle, and there we go. I'll put the sticker to one side, and with the front sticker removed you can now gently undo the middle screw. It's quite stiff on this unit. Now keep the screw, and now when you lift this off it will bring the circuit board with it, so then just unclip the circuit board from it. Okay, it's as easy as that. Now there's the capacitor, that's the bit you've got to be careful of because that does store electricity and could give you a nasty shock if you was to not know what you're doing. And some of the components further up also do store up here. There's number 8, that's the one that's in question, and that's the one we're going to look into removing. So looking more closely at the printed circuit board, here you can see outputs number 6, 7 and 8, and it's U6, U7, U8. Ignore the X4, X5, X6, even though output 8 is using X6. Okay, now below the actual main chip there you can see you've got these resistors. Now they should be okay. So the bits we're looking at in detail here is going to be that element that's marked U8. So this little module, or chip as some people call it, that I'm focused on is in fact an N4031SD, and which you can actually see in that writing on the module itself. Now this particular module is what's known as a dual N-channel mode MOSFET. Now that sounds so complicated, but it's simply a dual switching diodes, and is actually very easy to change. Now when you're looking for one of these, the correct model number is a DMN4031SSD. Now I purchased mine from RS Components in the UK, and hopefully you have something similar to where you are. So I've put the RS component number, and again, if you were looking for it, there it is, that dual end channel MOSFET um, with the 8 pins. Okay, so it's all the information is there. So whichever country you're in, you should be able to do that search and find that component. Now you might get a minimum quantity of 20, but it is worth getting 20, even if you only just use the one. Now the easiest way I found to replace these is to actually just cut across the middle of the integrated circuit. Don't cut the legs, okay, just cut away the middle bit, and we'll unsolder the legs afterwards. Okay, instead of trying to desolder it, it's much easier just to cut those off, and now we can go and just actually unsolder the legs which are still soldered on. Looks a bit brutal, but it's a very easier method than trying to desolder it. Now with the main body removed, I simply just desolder with my solder sucker and get rid of the legs which is soldered to the printed circuit board. My soldering iron's on about 350 degrees because I don't want it to go too high, but you can see it's just just touch it on there and it sucks up all the legs. I'll just show you how to do 4 here, and then you obviously do the bottom 4 the same. So you can see the solder pads clear of now all the legs and ready to take our new module. This is how my modules came in a strip like this, and then there was 20 in that strip, and I just peeled the cellophane back to remove the single integrated circuit. It's also key to note at this point the little dimple which is just above pin 1. You have to make sure that dimple is in the same place as it came out, and you'll see all the others have got the dimple in that place. What I do now is I've got some no clean flux dispensing pen, so I get the flux and I just wipe across the solder tags to put a bit of flux there, same on the bottoms. It just makes this it's so much easier to solder with flux. Okay, and then I just also take the integrated circuit and I just apply some, apologies out of shot really, but just apply some to the legs, and again as soon as I touch these with the soldering iron they will just solder instantly. Now I can pick up the tweezers and hold it in place, and then I can actually just lay that over the solder tabs, ensuring I've got the dimple aligned with all the others. Here's a better view, so I use the tweezers just to get it lined up over the solder pads in the middle, and then I just touch the soldering iron onto pin 1. There we go, and then on the other end, that's it, and that's all it takes. Now that means that is in place, so all I've got to do now is to go around with a soldering iron and just touch the other legs down onto the solder pads, and you can put just a fraction more solder on the soldering iron, but there's normally quite a bit of solder on the pads, as you'll see, just to get it to go. You'll see the actual solder run, and there it goes, and I'll just come back and do the other 2. And that is the new integrated circuit fitted, and now it's a simple case of putting it back in the back into its module and test it. Here's a close-up view of that chip that I've just resoldered in, and as you say, it doesn't take much to do at all. Okay, and right, let's get it back in the module and test it. So here's our module. It's back inside its case. I've put the screw back in, I've put the sticker back, and what I've done now is I've connected up the power, connected up the signal back to DCC, and I've also connected up the output that was not working properly. So with this I can now turn this on and get ready to test output number 8. So I can click on my screen here for number 8 and the point changes, and I can click again and it changes back. Sorry for the crude camera work as I lean over, and now you can actually see the point, and when I click changes, and if I click again, and now it goes back. So there we are, our Digikeijs DR 418 is now repaired, and now I can continue to put all the other outputs on. So just to repeat, that the module that broke on mine was a DNM 4031 SSD. And so once you've done a search, you should be able to find where you can buy these replacement modules. Now just to add, obviously my one I knew had a fault on that particular output, and that's what that component was. If it's all the outputs, then clearly something else is wrong. But if you've got an output that's not working, I would suggest that's a really good place to start, is with changing that module. And good luck. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.